Wonderman, Disney's Wonderman, was good, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and Sir Ben Kingsley. This was a masterpiece of storytelling, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a story about Simon Williams, a Avengers character. He's not Avengers in the show, but in the comic book, he eventually becomes an Avenger. He starts out as an Avengers villain, and he sees the light and becomes a hero. But in the story, he's an actor, much like in the comic. He's an actor in the comic. He's an actor who just can't seem to get out of his own way. I mean, he's in an American Horror Story. Great show. If you've never seen it, watch it. Bunch of seasons, great episodes, and he's in it, and he can't get out of his own way. He's got a scene where he just has to say a couple of words, but he wants to know what the actor's thinking and the connection between him and the other person, and he just won't let it go. He goes to the point where he wants the writer of the story to come down and have a discussion with him before he will film the scene. That dude is extra. So they fire him. The show had a lot of actors playing themselves. It had Joey Pants, he calls himself, Joe Pantoliano. You'll know him from The Matrix. He was the guy from The Matrix, bald head, didn't want Neo to get with the girl Trinity. You know, that guy. Great actor. He plays a friend of Trevor, and they knew each other from way back. Trevor has a problem with him, but they need him for something, and he insults Trevor. He gives him those kind insults, those backhanded insults, backhanded compliments, and Simon, seeing Trevor as his friend, defends him. And he's trying to get into business, so this is a big star, but he defends him. They are growing closer as friends. I love the dynamic between the two of them. Josh Gad is in here, and you know he's you know doing his in summer thing at the club. He goes to the club and he just sings it, and people love it. He's in a segment called Doorman, and Doorman is another Avenger. He's actually with the Great Lakes Avengers, who aren't really Avengers. There's a bunch of people that got together, had superpowers, and started calling themselves Avengers. Man, you can't do that. It's kind of like what's going on right now with the Avengers in the movie, where they're like, oh, you know, he's suing us for the name. That happened in the comic books, but it happened with Great Lakes Avengers. They were just calling themselves Avengers, man, and they were told to stop. But he was with that group. He's not in the movie. He wears the comic accurate costume for, like, you know, blink and you miss it moment. He's got the mask on and the suit, and he takes the mask off real quick and everything, which was kind of cool. So they bring another person there with superpowers, which was kind of good. He and Simon don't actually meet. His story happens years before, but they talk about it. So Josh Gad was a part of that segment, playing himself. Also, Mario Lopez is in here doing his Mario Lopez show, where he's bringing you the news. And as things happen in the show, Mario Lopez comes up on his show and he's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And he tells you things, which is kind of cool. The show starts off with Trevor being arrested by Damage Control. They arrest him, tackle him in an airport. And if you remember, Trevor played the Mandarin. He says he thought it was just, an acting gig. He plays the Mandarin. He gets arrested. The actual Mandarin breaks him out of jail, and he spends years away. Once that is all done, he comes back to the world, and he figures, well, my time's done. I guess I'll be an actor again. But he never finished his time, So it's like the Abomination. He was broken out, and he came back. He didn't finish his time. And, you can't just leave jail, break out, and think, well, I'm free now. You got to go back. So they told him, hey, man, we're either going to send you to jail or you're going to do a thing for us. And he's like, yeah, okay. So he becomes a spy for damage control, and he's supposed to spy on Simon. Get evidence that Simon is a superpowered person so they can put him in jail. Damage control right now is suffering because they're spending a ton of money on damage control, their maintenance, their super tech, this gigantic superhero prison, but they don't have anybody in a prison. They got it's half full. So the government's like, we're going to drop 20% of your income, get rid of some of your people and stuff to make up for all of this damage that we're losing with money, giving it to you, and you're not showing us results. So the one guy, the main guy, the guy from the Spider-Man movie and everything, from the Miss Marvel movie, the main damage control dude, he's like, okay, they're going to fire me unless I get some people in there, some high-profile stuff. So he goes after Simon. He's pretty sure he's superpowered, so he's going after him. He gets Trevor to help him, because that dude doesn't want to lose his job. That's basically what it is. He doesn't want to get fired, so he's doing almost I'm the new villain kind of things right now. So there's that. So Trevor meets him slyly. They become pals. It seems like Simon has always had superhuman abilities. They talk about a fire when he was a kid. He destroyed the house. I think it was he unleashed his ionic power, which is his thing. He has ionic power. He controls it. And it makes him incredibly strong, ridiculously invulnerable. He's probably one of the most invulnerable, unhurtable people in all of comics. He's really, really strong, but his ability not to be damaged is even more powerful, because even if you blew him up, he'll turn the energy and eventually make his body back again. There's really no way to destroy him. He's actually, in the comic books, he's technically immortal. He outlives some of the Asgardians. He's thousands of years in the future. He's still hanging around. Changed his name from Simon to Wonderman to Hollywood. And he's just hanging out. Actually, with the Guardians of the Galaxy, in the comic book version. But he's really powerful, and he unleashes, I assume, his ionic power because his house catches fire. They never explain exactly what happens, but there was a fire. And his brother Eric blames him for the fire. And it turns out that he had his powers at least when he was really young. More than likely, he was born with them, which makes him a mutant. So they erased the way he got his powers in the comic books. Baron Zemo gave him his powers in an experiment as a way to get back at Tony Stark, because Tony Stark supposedly destroyed his company. At least that's what he thought. So he wanted to get back at Stark. And Zemo saw a guy that wanted revenge and gave him ionic superpowers and was like, go attack the Avengers. That's how he got his powers. But they, as a mutant, and introducing him that way, it could be a better story, especially since they've already shown Zemo. Unless somehow this was part of his plan and he gave Simon his powers when he was a kid, which didn't make any sense because that would have happened before the Sokovia things happened. But this way's better. He's a mutant. So there's him now. There's Kamala Khan. And there's Namor. All mutants. Plus, Monica Rambeau is now in a universe filled with mutants. And they're coming, man. They're coming soon. She's coming back. They're probably coming with her. You know there's going to be a mutant saga coming up soon. So I like the way that they introduced his abilities. But with the Doorman thing, there's a Doorman clause that Hollywood will no longer hire anyone who has superhuman abilities. Because there was an accident with Doorman, and he may have killed someone. Because you can pass through him and be teleported. Normally, you pass through him and you just go past him, beyond him. So if he's standing in front of a door or a wall or in an energy field and you pass through him, when you go to the other side, you're through the energy field. But he can also use that as teleportation. If you go through him, you may end up in Alaska or Hawaii or down the street or 300 feet in the air. Josh Gad passes through him and he vomits what looks like water. And I'm thinking seawater. And I think he dropped Josh Gad in the ocean because they said it had been weeks and no one had heard from him. And then they made that clause. So Simon, knowing he's got superpowers, doesn't want anybody to know because he wants to be an actor. And his father takes him to see Wonderman, and he falls in love with it because he enjoyed the movie, plus he loves his father, and his father loved that movie, and his father passes soon afterwards. So that movie is deep in his mind. And he becomes an actor because of that movie. But an opportunity to play Wonderman happens. And a little bit him, a little bit Damage Control. They put him in the right place. He does the right things, and he gets the role of Wonderman. So after he gets that role, the movie comes out as a success. People just start calling him Wonderman because of the movie. And everybody knows that Simon Williams is now Wonderman, but they're saying it because of the movie. In the comics, everybody knows that Simon Williams is Wonderman because they didn't care about a superhuman identity because he just wants to be an actor, man. And you can't be an actor if people don't know your name, so he's got to tell them his name, What if Denzel came out in a mask? That ain't Denzel, there's a dude in a mask. Anybody could play that role, any role, because all they can do is put his mask on. He has to show his face and say his name, and now everybody knows Denzel. They don't even use his last name, Denzel. Simon Williams, you gotta see his face. You gotta know his name. So that happened. I gotta say I enjoyed the chemistry between Trevor and Simon, the on-screen chemistry. They seem to be honest to God friends, which Simon needed because he didn't have any friends. He didn't have any friends, man. He grew up friendless, and that is terrible for a child. And when he tried to make friends, they picked on him. That's why he ended up at the movies with his father. His father took him out of school and took him to the movies. Good man. So Trevor decides, I don't want to go to jail. I'm going to tell on Simon. And he betrays his friend. And afterwards, he thinks about it. Simon didn't have no friends. Simon's mother gives a heartfelt confession to Trevor about how Simon didn't have any friends, and she's so glad that he finally has one friend. And Trevor feels that because he really doesn't have any friends. And all of the things that they went through when Simon protected him against Joey Pants and everything, and how he saw that Simon's brother treated him and everything, it moved him. So he decided that he's going to become the Mandarin again, tape a video and send it to the news that he did a thing that Damage Control was trying to get Simon for. He's like, nope, I did it. It was me. And they'll never see me coming. That's a cool voice, man. I like that. They got to do something with that. They got to do something more with that. So Damage Control has no choice. They got to capture him, put him in jail. He's the Mandarin. So it's a big name villain that they got. The guy saves his job and everything. Now Simon, who's hurt because he finds out that Trevor betrayed him, after months he practices and learns how to use his ability. And he has this months-long plan, and he breaks Trevor out of jail, which I don't know was a good idea. He's breaking up, he's using his ionic powers, and he's damaging cameras so that they can't see him, but he grabs the bars of Trevor's cell and he yanks them off. So his fingerprints are there, man. I'm guessing he's got fingerprints. I don't know. I've never been ionic. Maybe. So he grabs Trevor and they fly out of the prison, which is super cool because that's one of his powers that they don't talk about a lot. You know, when you hear people talking about Wonderman, they don't mention that he can fly a lot, but the dude can fly. He's got superhuman strength. He's invulnerable. He can fire his ionic power. He learns to do that. He can do a lot of stuff. But it pretty much ends like that. I would have liked for there to have been an end sequence where they say, okay, man, this is what's going on next in the Simon Trevor show. Because they're together now. So either there's a point where the guy in charge of Damage Control says Simon Williams is a major threat or a major asset. So he's already considering using him as talent. I think that Simon is going to say, one of those, yeah, man, I'll help you. As long as Trevor's not in trouble, then I'll help you. The dude's rich now. He made this big movie, made a killing for this big movie. So he's got money. You know, he could do it for free if he felt like it. And just don't put Trevor back in jail. Or he could say, you know what? There's that big green lawyer that helps superpowered people. I'm going to hire the She-Hulk. But it'd have to be a different woman because, that woman quit. So they got to get a new actress. But that's an option. Whatever they go with, I'd like to know what happens. They probably are going to do a second season. This show's going to be pretty good, so they're probably going to do a second season. I would like to know what happens with his character. But this was a really good show. I enjoyed it. Wonderman, I think, was good. It was exciting. It was entertaining. It was good. I enjoyed it. I might watch it again. I mean, it's 8 episodes, but I might watch it again on another day when I've got absolutely nothing else to do. And for this show, I would give Wonderman 10 bags of popcorn. 10 bags of popcorn. I probably only gave 3 or 4 of those in the last 10 years, but today, 10 bags of popcorn, man, because that's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now you've seen the video, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.